Pollen coming into the colony was the biggest source of exposure to bees. Most of the agrochemicals, including neonicotinoids, were found in pollen. So whenever we found a pollen that tested positive for neonicotinoids, we actually took the sample of the pollen, spread it on a microscope, and looked at the shape of the pollen and used keys to identify where is this pollen coming from. And the expectation is it's the crops, corn and soy, that are being treated with neonicotinoids, so the pollen that's testing positive for neonicotinoids should belong to corn and soy. And what we found was a big surprise. There was actually almost no pollen coming from corn and soy. Most of the time, the pollen that tested positive for neonicotinoids came from clover and willow and trees that are and trees and shrubs and plants that are very common in southern Ontario and Quebec. So that indicates to us that the neonicotinoids, which are systemic and they're water soluble means that whenever it rains, they could wash out and go into the soil and the water system. Systemic means that they're actually being uptaken by the plants through their roots and exposed everywhere in the plant. So the neonicotinoids get taken up from the roots and then are transported to pollen and nectar. So what we think is happening is the neonicotinoids that are in the seeds of corn and soy are essentially leaching out, spilling over from the cornfields onto the nearby natural areas in southern Ontario, and then being picked up by flowers that are bee friendly, that bees like to visit to collect pollen and nectar. This is important because honeybees are generalists. They eat on lots of, they collect pollen and nectar from lots of plants. And we have lots of native bees, like bumblebees, that would visit the same plants and will likely also be chronically exposed to neonicotinoids in Ontario and Quebec.